The other thing I saw was the dead man. Like when they say die, remember in Genesis chapter 1, I believe? No,
No, chapter
chapter
2.
talking about dying, dying, you shall die type of thing. Like,
Die. Yeah.
yeah, they're saying it's the same word where it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna die, whether it happens in this instant or in the next instant. Like the idea is he's telling you you will die,
Yeah.
and that's scary, like because you don't really know. Like it's not like he struck you dead and you're just dead. He's telling you. It's like when you eating, but there's like you gonna get the beating at home, and you just waiting down, like just waiting for it to happen.
The anticipation of the death.
Yeah. So now he's just like, no, 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 no. I didn't mean, like, I didn't do anything. Would you kill me? We're innocent. Like all the, and even the word for integrity originally some a commentary was trying to compare it to when God told Abraham to walk blameless before him, and they were like comparing the fact that Abimelech is saying, hey, I'm innocent, to how God is telling Abraham to act. Like,
What is going on, XYZers, XYZ Nation? We back up in the lab, putting together some real goodness for y'all as generational scriptures. And yeah, we're black. We're back. Say that 5 times fast. Fast. Looking at Genesis chapter 20. It's late, and the title of this episode is "Give Her Back." So hopefully that will make sense as we go through the chapter today. So how's everybody out there doing? Everybody's good?
Yes.
Thumbs up. Yeah, okay. All right. Y'all look anxious and ready. So we usually do something about that time, about this time, and that something is to introduce ourselves. I am the last keyed one himself, the former X-Man representing Gen X, all up in the area, Chris. And in the upper left corner, we have.
I am Moya, the resident millennial.
And then in the upper right corner, we have.
Jasmine, your microwaver. And together we are.
Generational.
Scriptures. Look at that. But you want to introduce our special guest?
Yes. So I'm currently on a work trip, hence the bad quality and the gray looking video. And Mama Coleman joined me as my travel partner, and she decided to join the podcast as well.
Thank
So,
you guys for
Mama Coleman, aka Cheryl Coleman, got your whole government out there.
Got the whole government name. Man,
I'm
cool.
good.
You good? Awesome. Thanks for joining us today, Miss Cheryl. Uh, Mama Coleman. Yeah, I did it.
Glad to be here.
So, as you all know, who are familiar with our podcast, we've got 2 segments today, and the first segment is really special. We are going to be talking with Jasmine as she gives us some tea as we start this episode.
I gotta pour it in my cup. I'm pouring in my cup.
That is a big cup of tea.
This, all my cups are between, I think they're like 16 ounces.
Oh
I
my
think they all are
goodness.
like 16 ounce cups. But you guys know we always start this with what's in my cup.
Yes.
So today, and mind you, this was full, but neither here nor there. I have black tea, but I have vanilla syrup. So normally I use Madagascar vanilla, and that's the only one I use. but I've been trying not to use, Amazon for anything. So I'm trying not to. I'm on an Amazon break right now. So
Okay.
I didn't order my syrup. I went to Giant and I got regular vanilla syrup.
Okay.
And I added it to my tea. I put about like this much. And it gives you the taste that there's like creamer in here.
Yeah.
But there's no creamer.
No.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
Really good. And this is another cup from my batch of 12 tea bags. And I know every time I say that, because it's like, that's too much. It's really good though. And for my official tea for today, it's a little different. I some of you may know, our loyal watchers and followers may know, I announced a little while back that I am expecting, so I will be going on my maternity leave. Yes. So we're about like 3-ish weeks out from my due date.
Mm.
But we're prepping like right now. So who knows when baby will be here, but I will be taking a little break. But you guys are in great hands, and there will be some very, very interesting changes. We'll have awesome guests coming your
Yeah.
way. So no worries there. You'll still get great perspectives from a third party. That'll be awesome. I'm very excited to continue to watch, like to be a viewer. But yeah, so you guys won't see me for a little while, but I'll be back. Don't worry.
Okay, good. As long as you're coming back, we
I'll
can
be
deal
back.
with a little break. But you got to come
Yeah,
back.
just keep my seat warm. It's just
Yeah,
keeping my seat warm.
exactly. Exactly. Awesome. And of course, we wish you well.
Oh,
Keep
thank you.
us abreast
Yes.
of everything that's going on.
Will do.
We know that you're in good hands with the Lord first and foremost, and we are so
Hmm.
happy for you and the new addition to the
Oh,
family to come.
thank you.
We appreciate you.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
And Beta, our Beta baby.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
the only beta baby. Oh,
That's the next generation to our set of generations. So
yeah.
that's cool. Awesome. 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 All right. And with that, the next thing that we do is we have our all right, so boom segment done by none other than Miss Moya.
All right, so chapter 19, we start off with the two angels that were leaving from Abraham. They in chapter 18 they were with the Lord and the two angels. Those two angels went to Sodom. They get to Sodom, they get to the city gates, and they meet Lot there. There is significance to the gates, and I think we talked about that in the last chapter. So go back and watch for the significance about city centers and the gates and the type of dealings that happen there. But at the gates, Lot is telling them, "Hey, come to my house. I want to host you guys." And they're like, "No, we'll stay here." And he's like, "No, no, no, you do not want to stay here. Come to my house." So he presses them enough where they're like, "Okay, we'll come to your house." So they go to his house. Lot does a feast for them. He does, I think, bread, manna, or I believe unleavened bread,
Unleavened, yeah.
and unleavened bread and a feast. We don't know what's in the feast, but we know he had the unleavened bread. And then before they are about to go to bed, the men of Sodom, everybody from young to old, all the men of Sodom show up at Lot's door, and they are knocking on the door for him to bring out those two men that came to his house. And Lot is like, "No, guys, like, relax. You cannot take them. I have daughters. Take my daughters," which is crazy. But he offers his daughters to them, and they're like, "Who do you think you are? You can't come in here and tell us what to do. We don't want your funky daughters."
Oh, gee. Not funky daughters.
Like, so then, so then he, they, the angels grab Lot, pull him back in the house, and these men are trying to break the door down, and the angels strike them with blindness. At that point, they can't see, but for some reason they're still grappling to try to get in, and they just tire themselves out. And I'm assuming they go home. We don't really get told what exactly happens. They just disappear, like the story of them ends. But the angels let them know, like, this town is going to be destroyed. The city is going to be destroyed. You and your family, whoever you have, get them, and you guys need to get out of here. I believe it was in the morning. They remind them. Lot tries to tell his son-in-laws. So his daughters had two men that they were supposed to marry. They were engaged to, or is it betrothed to,
Yeah,
in the
betrothed.
city. But when Lot told them, they didn't believe him. They thought he was joking. So he takes him and his two daughters and his wife. They're supposed to be leaving the city. As they're leaving, they're kind of like not really trying to go. So the angels grab them by the hand and take them out of the city. They tell them, hey, go up to the mountains, and so that we can wipe out this city. And Lot is like, that sounds kind of far. Can I go right here instead? And so they're like, okay, just go over there. So they go to the nearby, I forgot this name of the city, Zor, I believe.
Zoar.
So they go to Zoar. So they go to Zoar instead. And once they get there, as they're going there, Lot's wife turns back, and they were instructed not to look back, not to turn around. She turns back. She turns into a pillar of salt. Him and his daughters get there. What else happens? God destroys the city, of course. And then they don't stay in Zora. They end up going to the mountains that they were supposed to go to in the first place.
First place.
And because it says that they were afraid to stay there. We aren't sure why exactly they're afraid, but they end up going to the mountains and living in a cave. So it's Lot and his two daughters now, no wife anymore. The daughters are worried because they don't have husbands anymore. They don't have kids. So the older one devises a plan to get their dad drunk, sleep with him so that they can continue their family line. So she does it. And then the next day, she's like, tells her little sister, you do the same thing. The little sister does the same thing. They both give birth. They both get pregnant to sons. They both give birth to sons. One is Moab. One is Moab. And one is Benami.
Benami.
Yeah. And so we remember Moab from the story of Ruth. And we don't know Ben Ami from anything that I was he just there. But that's where we end, and now we're coming into chapter 20.
Yes. Awesome. As usual. The the T and the boom be teeing and booming. That's what they do. All right. Y'all ready to jump in?
Ready?
Yes.
All right, let's get it.
Okay,
Genesis chapter 20.
here we go. Genesis chapter 20, verses 1 and 2. From there, Abraham journeyed toward the territory of the Negev and lived between Kadesh and Sher,
Mhm.
and he sojourned to Gerar. And Abraham said to Sarah his wife, she is my sister. Said of Sarah his wife, she is my sister. And Abimelech king of Gerar sent and took Sarah.
Okay. Deja vu. It should sound
Yeah.
familiar,
Yeah.
right? That's
Yeah.
why I put the note in there. In the commentary, it says Abram sojourn in Gerar results in the second abduction of Sarah by a foreign king. Jeez.
Yes.
So, I mean, this is really just setting up what the circumstance that we're heading into. Um, Anything that you all see in there about Abraham and what's going on that you want to chime in on?
Um, well, again, he's protecting himself and not his wife out of fear again. But I don't know, like I really was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, trying to reason why he could be doing this again, and I can't. I really can't. There's no excuse. Um, Especially because I felt like he learned his lesson the last time, and it seemed like he was trying to be better and walking in faith, but he's just trying to get to what he's trying to get to, which
Yeah.
I'll elaborate on that later. But yeah, I don't know, crazy.
Yep. That's one thing that's interesting because you have talked about his continued maturation and his character development,
Mm-hmm.
and we've seen this. He takes a couple steps forward and then he seems to revert back and do
Yeah.
something that doesn't seem to align with his growth that we've seen. I'm not going to say we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we told you not too long ago. Just keep watching. We'll come
Yeah.
back and talk about about Abraham and his character development.
Oh,
Cheryl, you had something?
Um, for me, I understand what Jasmine is thinking, but I also giving him a little bit of benefit of doubt. It's a patriarchal times, and
Hmm.
they didn't regard women the same. So, like if he's saying it's my sister, I don't have to fight you over this woman that I'm sleeping with. Is because they didn't necessarily regard marriage because he's not looking at they are people who are not of God. So
Hmm.
he doesn't know what he's encountering. But his faith should be that God got us. True. But he also is thinking about the times he lives in.
Yeah.
Hmm.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about that when he did it the first time. When he did it the first time, we talked about that, and I don't remember what chapter that was.
Mm.
And a difference between then and now is this time we don't know why he's moving, why he's leaving where he was going from. Before there was the famine, and we were like, well, why wouldn't you trust that God, if God placed you here, he would get you through the famine? But this time it's just he's journeying somewhere, but for what reason we don't
Yeah.
know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. Yeah. Oh, that's good because he's still. It's interesting, right? And we've been seeing this term sojourner from all the way back to the time we looked at Joseph. So it shows that he is not in homeland, which I think to your point, Cheryl, sort of magnifies the fact that he's going to run into people and he doesn't know, what they're about. And we'll actually see some of that further down in the chapter.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same token, it's a struggle, and I think it's a valid struggle. Don't get me wrong. I think it's what, and I think we've tried to say this in a couple of episodes. It's what we all deal with, because you're going to have times when you feel like you're really walking with God, and then you're going to have times when you're just faltering for some reason. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
struggle, and I think that's always going to be there. Um, so yeah. Anything
The other
else?
thing I saw, yeah, the other thing I saw was before they mentioned like how beautiful she was and all of that. And this is like what 20, 30 years later, is
Mm-hmm.
she's still beautiful enough for somebody to want to take her,
Mm-hmm.
even though she's past the age of childbearing, she's past the age of, like in the last chapter they were saying, like she was saying, I'm old, like I don't have anything to give anymore, why would
Worn
I have a
out.
baby?
Right.
Yeah, worn out, that was the word she used. But there's still something about her that's making these people take her.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't, because one thing is interesting because in chapter 13 is where we first run into Pharaoh, and it was just as you mentioned, she was beautiful, and we look at that and say that's the reason that Pharaoh wanted to take her. Right? We're not given any other cause. But that, for whatever reason, is not said here. So it sort of leaves it open a little bit for me. I'm not saying that she wasn't still a looker or a baddie, but it's just not called out expressly. So it's like, what exactly is going on? Maybe Abimelech was just like anybody new that came in. I'm going to take him. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I read one I read one commentary that said that because of the battle that Abraham fought, he may be kind of known because he killed a
Hmm.
major person, right? He,
Yep.
or not killed, he defeated a major group. So
Yep.
he may be known. And so what they were trying to say is that, you know how they create kingdoms by, if I'm your sister, I marry your
Hmm.
sister, so you can't kill me because we're like, we
Yep.
should be allies because I marry your sister. They were like, maybe it's something like that going on. So it may not be her looks. It could just be that she's with a man who has stature now.
Right.
We know he has wealth because he got wealth from Egypt. And we know that people probably have heard about him because he defeated all of those nations under that
King
under
Che.
yeah. So it could be that. It's not explicitly stated though, so I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid point as well. I saw something that said the same thing. Go ahead, Sarah.
Along those same lines, similar to how Solomon had so many different women and it was in concubines, and it wasn't necessarily because he wanted them, it's because of the prestige of having a large flock of women. So when someone new from a different culture, if you take that person in, then you're building your reputation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I said. To go back to the times that they lived in,
Hmm.
why, like, this is my sister. I'm not fighting, don't want to fight because they didn't necessarily, dictators don't necessarily care to choose somebody's wife, like David.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So I'm interested to see what happens from this. So are we good? We want to continue on? We good? Any thoughts? Final thoughts?
Oh, I have
Cool.
one last
Oh,
thing, like a
yeah.
question.
Hmm.
I saw something that said that Abimelech is not a name, it's a title, but I don't understand how it's a title, and then we also refer to Abimelech as king. So that feels like it would be redundant.
Yeah. I think Abimelech. Go ahead. Did you have something you wanted to say, Maya? Yeah.
No, it
Abimelech
wasn't.
means something to the effect of like my father is king.
Oh,
So that's what
Yeah.
Malek is king, Ab is father. Um, so that's why I think people think that it could be just a title that everybody's like, my father is king, so now I'm king type of thing. Or it could
okay,
really just be his name. So um,
okay,
I don't think there's a
Yeah.
definite, yeah, but from what I read, that's what his name means.
okay,
Cool.
Yeah, I think my notes said they said it's a fairly common name in Northwest Semitic literature. Semitic literature.
Mm,
Um, and like you said, it means my father is king, and it could be a title, but it could, like you said, it could be a name. So it's,
you don't know.
okay,
It's either or.
okay,
and maybe he is, would that indicate that he's not the king? He's just, no, because they called him King
Call him king.
Abimelech.
I would
So
still think he's a king. It's just that is every
yeah,
king that ascends to that position sort of named Abimelech. You know what I mean? Like my father was
yeah,
king, so his son
like
becomes king. He's still
Pharaoh.
saying my father is king. Right. You come up, you're
Okay.
Pharaoh.
All right, Genesis chapter 20, verses 3 to 7. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, behold, you are a dead man because of a woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife. Now Abimelech had not approached her. So he said, Lord, will you kill an innocent person? Will you kill an innocent people? Did he not himself say to me, she is my sister? And she herself said, he is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and the innocence of my hands, I have done this. And then God said to him in a dream, yes, I know that you have done this in the integrity of your heart, and it was I who kept you from sinning against me. Therefore, I will not let you touch her. Now
Mhm.
then, return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, so that he will pray for you and you shall live. But if you do not return her, know that you shall surely die, and you and all who are yours.
Wow. All right. So now we get into the story.
mm-hmm.
We see God coming to Abimelech in a dream at night. And what's happening with this dream and Abimelech and what God is saying?
Well, seems to me like, well, I feel like this is further like expanded upon as we go, but in the beginning, so like before, um, Abraham was scared for his life, so that's why he told people that Sarah was his, or Sarai at the time.
Yes, Sarai at the
Sarah.
time, but they're one and the same.
Yeah, that Sarai at the time was his sister. So
Right.
assuming like that the people would harm him, like assuming the worst of them. I feel like it's we're in a similar space here, but then it's like this weird contrast because then Abimelech's like, I'm not trying to do that. Like, I'm not. That's not like it didn't seem like this was his intention. And then God's like, that's why, like, nothing, I didn't allow anything to transpire. Like, knowing that you're like, his heart isn't in that space. And I thought that was interesting because, like, when he said, yes, I know that you have done this in the integrity of your heart, and it was I who kept you from sinning against me.
Mhm.
Like, I just thought that was interesting, considering
Yeah.
that then Abraham's thinking like that these people are not of good heart. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
No, I think I see what you're saying, but I wanted to make sure I understand when you say that this was not his intention. What exactly do you when you say that? What
Like,
exactly are you talking about?
he wasn't trying to take of someone's wife.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, that wasn't, he didn't say, oh, like, okay, I see a beautiful woman who is also someone's wife. I
Right.
want her. That
Right.
wasn't the intention.
Yeah.
Which once again, like, Abraham, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This is just like a very blatant repeat of what we've seen before.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this, I mean, even I guess, I don't know, because I'm thinking maybe even last time, I don't know, this time feels different.
Yeah. It's
The
a lot
intentions
different.
feel different.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
Yeah, what was interesting to me is that the way he spoke with God, as if he, similar to Jasmine, thinking that he actually, like, not believed in God, but respected had respect.
Mm-hmm.
And and then he understood his power because he said, would you kill these people?
Yeah.
So he had reverence and understanding of who was speaking to him.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I agree. Completely agree.
And I don't know if it's because I would assume that he believes in multiple gods, right? And they're using the word Lord, Adonai, Lord, which they use when they talk about the angels, like talking to the
Mm-hmm.
angels. Lot calls them Lord the same way. So it's just like I'm in a dream and you're telling me I'm a dead man. Like I'm gonna
Oh,
be scared. So I'm
okay.
using like I'm using reverence to speak back to you because I know you. Why I would believe because they also believed in dreams and like
Okay.
things that are happening in dreams will come true. So whoever I'm talking to in this dream must be trying to is revealing something to me. So I'm going to be respectful so I don't die because I didn't purposefully do
Mm,
anything. Like I haven't even done anything yet. Will you kill me for this?
Yeah.
The other thing I saw was the dead man. Like when they say die, remember in Genesis chapter 1, I believe? No,
No, chapter
chapter
two.
talking about dying,
mhm.
dying,
You should
you
surely
shall
die.
die type of thing.
Die,
Like,
die. Yeah.
yeah, they're saying it's the same word where it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna die, whether it happens in this instant or in the next instant. Like the idea is he's telling you you will die,
Yeah.
and that's scary, like because you don't really know. Like it's not like he struck you dead and you're just dead. He's telling you. It's like when you eating, but there's like you gonna get the beating at home, and you just like just waiting for it to happen.
The anticipation of the death.
Yeah. So now he's just like, no, 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 no. I didn't mean like I didn't do anything. Would you kill me?
Hmm.
We're innocent. Like all the and even the word for integrity originally some a commentary was trying to compare it to um when God told Abraham to walk blameless before him, and they were
Mm-hmm.
like comparing the fact that Abimelech is saying, hey, I'm innocent, to how God is telling Abraham to act like you have some sense. And then on this side, he's like, no, I'm smarter than that. Like I wouldn't take somebody's wife. I didn't mean to take somebody's wife. That's not something I'm doing, which I think is what Jasmine was trying to say. Like
Yeah.
I don't I'm not in the business of taking people's wives, even if
Yeah.
that's the around here.
Yeah. I'll take sisters all day, but wives are definitely off limits. That's crazy to me. But hey, like Cheryl pointed out, these are different times. These are different times. I think we also see some things about the Lord in here. right?
Yes.
Like, Lord, were
Mhm.
you killing innocent people? What is he? You remember just not last chapter, but chapter before that, 18? And remember when Abraham was
Abraham.
sort of bargaining and leaning in and on the justice of the Lord? Like, if there are 50 people, you surely will not, being a righteous God, destroy the city. If they're 45, if they're 40. And so I think we see that here, which lets me know that I think I agree that not that Abimelech believes in, and this is always it's always a struggle for me, exactly, like sometimes they'll use the same word, but it can be like for their plurality of gods, right? There's one God out of all that he believes who may think he's talking to, or whether he's actually believing that he's talking to Yahweh himself. But the word Elohim and Adonai lend to some of that openness in those terms. But what he does realize is whoever he's talking to, he's expecting for him to be just. He's expecting for him to act upright. And then the other thing I think we see in here is his power. I mean, because we touched on it, right? Here, Abimelech is being like, "Yeah, but I didn't touch her. I didn't." And then the Lord comes back and he's like, "Yeah, no, because I kept you from touching her." Just think that the Lord is so powerful that He is able to keep him from actually sinning, and then we'll learn more about that as we continue on through these verses. So those are two things that stuck out to me. Oh, and there's one more. Did y'all pick up on what he said that Sarah said concerning herself and Abraham?
Yeah.
Did
Yes.
he?
She called herself his.
Yeah. Did he, verse 5, did he not himself say to me, she is my sister, and she herself said, he is my brother? So it's like both of them are aligning with this story according to Abimelech here, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know, was
Yeah.
Abimelech just trying to say stuff to save face, or did it really happen? Question marks,
Mm.
but he is attributing some of this to her. So those are
Yeah.
all interesting and good points.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing is that God calls Abraham a prophet, which that's new. We have not heard anyone be called a prophet.
Yeah, yeah, that's the first use of the word prophet, I believe,
Hmm.
in scripture. And it's interesting that it's Abraham. And
It's
so
very interesting that it's
why
Abraham.
why do we why is when we think of prophets, what do we think of? In the show notes, I'll just read it and get you all's take on it, right? It says here, a prophet is fundamentally someone who speaks the words of God, gives them. I can't even talk. A prophet is fundamentally someone who speaks the words God gives them, serving as a mediator between God and people. As God's authorized spokesman, the prophet receives a message or commands from God, who is the superior party in the relationship, and then communicates those words to the people. This is an office ordained by God to speak his word with the purpose of edifying, exhorting, comforting, foreseeing, guiding, rebuking, and building up the kingdom. A prophet is given divine vision to see the things as God sees them and can become a literal mouthpiece for God's words. Critically, a prophet is chosen by God at his initiative, passively receives the message rather than creating it, and proclaims it to a specific historical audience while maintaining ongoing relevance for God's people. Their speaking is primarily an encouragement, exhortation, or reproof, and is rarely predictive. So, I don't know. Hopefully, all that made sense. But do we see any of that in Abraham? I can think of two cases where I see that. If you think of the
Maybe during the
prophet as
circumstance.
if you think of the prophet as being a mediator, have we seen that with Abraham?
I was going to say first the circumcision when all of the people were circumcised after hearing what
Mm-hmm.
God told Abraham, and then he went and did it. And then I guess the second one would be when he was, well, is that a I guess mediator in the fact that he tried to speak on behalf of Sodom to not so that they wouldn't be destroyed.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he told that message to anyone else or it's just like he's not this because I was thinking more spokesperson. Like you have to actually tell someone. So the
Yeah.
circumcision one makes sense, but the other one, I'm not sure if that's him acting as a prophet.
Yeah. Did that make sense to you, Jasmine?
Yes, I was trying to make sense of it all. I it makes sense. It makes sense. I understand the circumcision one.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I understand the Sodom reference as well. But he's I don't know. I guess I feel like when we see Abraham, he's acting after God tells him something and then he acts.
Mm-hmm.
But is that he's not always speaking though.
Yeah. But do you want to talk through the circumcision one more, y'all, and how you see that as being sort of prophetic?
So God gives him the covenant that says it all of the people in your household should be circumcised. If they're not circumcised, they won't take part in the blessing, right? So then
Mhm.
he would have to communicate that because we talked about in that chapter, these are mostly adults, right?
Mm-hmm.
Above 8 days old, you must be circumcised. And in his household right now, we don't know how many children there are, but we know he has at least an army of men who are under him who would then follow suit. And it says that all of them got circumcised. It didn't say that anyone opted out. So he would have had to communicate that, communicate
Right.
the blessing, and then the people follow it.
Yep.
Um, the Sodom and Gomorrah one, and maybe another one, maybe when he was talking to Melchizedek, because Melchizedek he gives that offering, remember, and and then he talked to the king of Sodom and said, "I can't take your money because of X, Y, and Z," and we kind of likened it to the fact that he got the message from Melchizedek. He understood that God was the one who won him the battle, so his
Mm-hmm.
riches come from winning that battle. And I don't know how he communicated that directly to the king of Sodom, but that's kind of like being a spokesperson where he's saying, no, I can't take anything from you because of what had just previously happened. But
Mm.
again,
Yeah.
that might that that and the whole speaking on behalf of Sodom feels like I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. If it's-
I definitely think the speaking on behalf of Sodom. Cheryl, you got something?
Well, my thinking is it also could be speaking to what he will do,
Okay.
not just what he has done. And then along with that, um, God dealt with people in different dispensations. So with Abraham, um, we're talking about Abraham.
Mhm.
So he in the covenant, like when you said the circumcision, it brought in a different dispensation, and he is that spokesperson for this
Dispensation.
dispensation. So that is prophetic in and of itself.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think all of that makes sense and is good thought in terms of him being a prophet. And I think we'll find one more in here, and this being the first time the word is used, Navi, and the first time that is assigned to a person is interesting because then we'll have to see how all the prophets after that sort of compare and where they may differ in different dispensations. We wouldn't have used that word dispensation if you weren't here, Cheryl. So thank you.
You know what? I am leaning more to the Sodom one now, just because he says for he is a prophet so that he will pray for you, as if prophets, like that's part of what they do is pray for you. So that discussion with the Lord is him praying
It's
for
intercession.
saved in the yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
So,
no, I'm with you. I get it. Um, I get it. All right. Sweet. Good discussion. Anything else there for verses 3 through 7? So, next thing we're going to get into is Genesis chapter 20, verses 8 through 10. And they read as follows. So Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told them all these things. And the men were very much afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? And how have I sinned against you that you have brought on me and my kingdom a great sin? You have done to me things that ought not to be done." And Abimelech said to Abraham, "What did you see that you did this thing?" Abimelech got himself up early the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was a little shooketh. I think he was a little scared of what's going on. And what does he do? So he gets up early and he starts to do what?
Well, first he tells
He
his
told all
servants.
of them.
Yeah, all of the
Yeah.
servants.
Did y'all think their response to this was interesting to what they heard?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They believed him. They were afraid.
They were afraid. So
Yeah.
that's step one. But then step two, he's going to call Abraham. What
Yeah.
do we
What's
see
he
with him
doing?
calling Abraham? What do y'all think about the questions that he asks and all of those things?
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when someone's like, "Why would you do that? What did I do to you to warrant this?" Like that's when I read it, I was thinking like talking to my sister, like, "Girl, was that necessary? What did I do? What have I done to you? I have not done anything to deserve this. So I'm confused where this came from." Like
Right.
that is like the vibe that I was getting with all his questions.
Yeah. I agree.
I really like the question that he said, "What did you see that you did this thing?"
Hmm.
Basically, what did you see in me that made you think you had to lie to us? You had to
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
deceive us. What did you
Mm-hmm.
came here and what did you perceive in us? I thought that was like 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 to Jasmine's point earlier that he's already have a preconceived idea and lying unnecessarily
Mm-hmm.
before he knows if he needs
Yeah.
to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And one other translation, I believe it's the NET. It says something to what prompted you to do this thing is how they translated it. So what like you were saying, what did you see about us? What moved you, Abraham, to do this thing? And the
Mm-hmm.
thing is that is interesting. I mean, like nowadays, even if it was his sister, everybody would be aghast, right? You don't just take somebody and bring them into, but we're in different times. But it's just because you didn't tell us that she was your wife instead of your sister. So what made you do that to us?
Yeah.
What made you withhold that information? I've read something that in those ancient Near East cultures, they held adultery as like a really big sin, which is why I think it talks about it being a great sin, right? To what did he say? Something to the effect of that brought this great sin to us in our kingdom, I believe it says. So it's like
Yeah.
they're looking at this thing like, yeah, this is pretty bad that you've done this.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked in chapter 13 about the fact that it felt like Abraham was getting off kind of free, like nobody called him out. But
Mm-hmm.
here
Mm.
Abimelech is calling him out, right? You don't think so?
Is he?
I think he
He's
is.
still getting off. He's still getting off the same to me. Like, yes, he's asking you questions, but
Hmm.
I don't. That's not enough. Like Abraham, don't be getting enough smoke. It's still not enough. It's still not enough to me
Wow.
because he's just asking him questions. He didn't go and like yoke him up and start beating him up or anything. He just asking. He's just
Mm-hmm.
talking.
You want to see
And I
some
and I
furniture moving.
wondered. Yes,
Some
I do because
some
Abraham, you know.
But I, for me, I always realized that God chose these people in their frailty and how they are. But if it was really bad, he calls them out on it too. But these instances, he doesn't really call him out.
So you feel like it's okay?
And I'm not saying it's okay, but I think that he also recognized the time. Like he killed the whole group of people in Sodom. Like the people are waxed, like their evil is in their hearts. So for him to be fearful of the people of that day seems just to me.
Hmm.
Chris,
He should trust in
Chris, because
God.
I gave Abraham grace, and Chris was like, no. So Chris, what you got to say?
No, I struggle with Abraham. And honestly, all right, so you know that I'm growing theologically, right? So all of
As
these folks that get this righteous moniker, right? We saw it with Noah, right? Um and now we're seeing that Abraham in chapter 15, right? It's called righteous. And I think that where I'm getting with this is that that righteousness is not because they behave any better than any of the rest of us. I think that
right.
righteousness is just because the Lord is going to call you righteous. And I think we said it before, and he's going to look at you through the eyes of his son, who's going to come to be Jesus Christ and be hung on a cross to deal with all your sins and make you righteous. That's where I'm sort of heading now, because we go back again to Genesis chapter 6. And this is what just hit me like, yeah, Ab- the wickedness that was called out in Genesis chapter 6, or better yet, in Genesis chapter 9, that everyone still is, it doesn't escape anybody. It doesn't miss anybody. So,
Right.
should I really be surprised that Abraham is doing this? No. Do I want him? Do I want some more accountability? Yes. Just
Mhm.
because, right? We should all want to do the right things before the Lord. And when
Right.
we see people who, it's just so hard. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else feels the tension the way I feel it. It's just so hard because I'm like, Abraham, do right. And then on the other side, Abraham, I know who you are. You're not just going to do good and the right thing because of who you are. You are counted as righteous because of who the Lord is. So, ah,
Mm.
what do you fit? How does this work?
Um, I'm about to use that word again. The dispensation is different. And also, Abraham, though he is chosen by God, he's a
Hmm.
prophet of God, he
Hmm.
does not have the Holy Spirit in him to
Agreed.
not sin against God.
Agreed.
So that's why we are different.
But are we?
We're a little
Yes.
different. We have the Holy Spirit, so we
Oh,
don't have to sin
We
anymore,
have the Holy.
right? We don't
I
have to
We.
said
sin.
we don't.
What does we don't have to sin mean?
We don't have to sin, meaning that any sin that's done is not because we don't have the power to not do it. Does that
Right,
make sense?
right.
Like
Right.
if
They
I
didn't have
sin, it's just as James said that I was lured away by my own desires such that
that.
I would commit a sin. With the Holy Spirit
And I
in us,
had
that's
no escape.
and that's the point of Romans, right? Portions of
Mhm.
Romans, that we have the Holy Spirit in us that gives us the power to not sin. So
Right.
yes, we're different in that
And
sense.
in their dispensation, it was the walk. Like you said, he called them righteous, but he will also he'll be with them, and then it'll not be always abide on them. Is what from how
Yeah,
I understand the scriptures, with how he walked with David and the different people. It wasn't consistent. Like once accept that Jesus died on the cross for us, we have his righteousness and it dwells in us, and we have his Holy Spirit, which is a gift that abides and live with us, that helps us with the pricking of our heart. Like when we think to do something wrong, we have that nagging to say no. That wasn't their relationship with God.
but they still should know right from wrong.
Oh, I
And I see what
agree.
you're saying. They don't have the power to not do it. right?
Right.
Their obedience, and that's a good point. Their obedience is just sheer willpower. It's just
Hmm.
like, I'm going to do right, but they don't have the Holy
Right.
Spirit to
Ours is
do right.
supposed to be greater. It's the like you said, we have a different relationship, and that's why I said we have the blessing of that of this new time as a believer.
And I would say that Abimelech, not having any relationship with God, hears that Abraham is a prophet. In his first question, or not his first question, in his line of questions, he's saying, "What did you see? As a prophet, what did you see that would make you do X, Y, and Z?" Right?
Hmm.
So even he's understanding that in your position, shouldn't you have more discernment?
But
Hmm.
when God had to give him that discernment,
He already went through the same situation. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah,
he's went
but
through this exact situation already.
that's
yeah.
why I said that it's not a perm. It doesn't just stay with him. That's my point of the way the
So
relationship with God, and God is still acting on his behalf and cleaning up his mess because he knows that he doesn't have the wherewithal to not, and he don't. I don't know the scriptures. He calls out even the ones who are his when. Like he called out David, he calls them out. Where is there a place where he's going to call out Abraham? Then I'll agree with you.
What do you mean call
what do
out
you mean call them
Abraham?
out? Like,
Call him out for like saying that what you did was wrong.
So are we saying what he did is right? I'm not
No,
understanding the.
I'm saying that God gave him grace, so we can give him grace. And
right, that's,
usually, if they, and that was a greatness, he calls them out.
I agree. God gave him grace, enough grace that he called him righteous, enough grace that he's saying that he's a prophet. I don't think that that grace doesn't mean everything that he's done is good or right in the Lord's eyes. He's just given grace and dare I say even mercy, right? I would probably say more mercy than grace, but either one I could see. But he's given it to him to get over it. So to not to get over it, but to, again, the only way I can reconcile this is that God is looking at Abraham, he's looking at Noah, he's looking at anyone else that he is considering righteous through the eyes of Christ, who is the one who dies for all sins, sins committed by Noah and Abraham, as well as sins committed by Chris and sins that have been committed by that will be committed by anybody in the future. The only way that those get addressed is through none other than Jesus Christ. The question that I have is, when does faith come into the picture where I trust? I mean, he's shown himself the Lord that is to be faithful. He's made a covenant with Abraham. He's made a covenant that when they cut the animals apart, the Lord went through as a smoking pot and a flaming torch, I think it was. So the Lord is saying, this is a covenant. This is what I'm doing with you. This is what I'm making with you. When, Abraham, are you going to stand on that and be all about it? But then the tension is that he's wicked, as all men are. So what am I really expecting from him? I don't know. I don't know if we answered anything. I think we just went all around in circles. But it's a good, to me it's a good discussion, because
Hmm.
I think you get into, just as you're saying, Cheryl, the dispensations and how eventually God works us out in such a way as is called out in Ezekiel, that he's going to soften your hearts and he's going to replace the heart of stone with a heart of flesh, which only comes because of the Holy Spirit. And he's working his way in his plan through all of these dispensations, right? Through all of these people that he is choosing and the families that he is choosing to work this plan through to get it to the point where you do have hearts of flesh. And
Hmm.
through all of that, when you go and you look at Hebrews chapter 11, it's not saying that Noah wasn't is Noah is in the faith hall of fame, as I like to call Hebrews 11. Abraham is in the faith hall of fame, as I like to call chapter 11. I think Abel is in the Faith Hall of Fame, right? So all of these people who did these deeds, they aren't counted as being lost. They're counted as believing. And I think that's the only way I can get to God is through Christ. So I don't know. So did that answer your question? Did I hold Abraham's feet to the fire like you expected me to, Moya?
Nope. But it's okay. I mean, I gave him grace a long time ago,
You did.
and Chris told me, why you giving him so much grace? Like what? And I said, okay,
No, and I've been thinking about this, like I said, this past week or so, 2 weeks since we talked about that. And I think that I try to and want to hold them to such esteem and high regard because the Lord calls them righteous. Well, I have to think into of
Mhm.
myself, what does that mean at that time for Noah, for
Right.
Moses, when they are called righteous? Does that mean that they're really righteous? Well, they're wicked. We get that from Genesis chapter 9, and they're still coming down the same human uh, path, lineage. So it's not that they're not wicked. The only way that they can be righteous is because the Lord is calling them righteous. And He is the
Right.
one who sees to their righteousness, not them in and of themselves. So
Right.
what I would love is to be like, yes, Abraham, I'm sold out. I trust the Lord. Famine, I don't have to move. I don't have to sojourn. I don't have to tell people that Sarah's my sister. How do I feel if he doesn't get it? How do I feel when I
Mhm.
don't get it? Right? So I don't know. Sorry to disappoint. But again, that's why we do this, so we can grow and think through things. All right. Good discussion. Good discussion. Next up.
All right. Genesis chapter 20, verses 11 to 13. Abraham said, I did it because I thought there is no fear of God at all in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she is indeed my sister, the daughter of my father, though not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And when God caused me to wander from my father's house, I said to her, This is the kindness you must do me. At every place to which we come, say of me, he is my brother.
Okay. Does this response from Abraham remind you of anything? I want to see if you all are thinking like I am.
Mm,
is it reminding you of Adam in the garden?
Yep.
Mm.
You
mm,
don't think that Adam that he gave the Lord Adam? You don't think Abraham gave the Lord a little shade when he was like, and when God
Yeah,
caused me to wander
caused me
from
to
my
wander.
father's house?
Yeah,
mm.
that felt really disrespectful to me. When I read it, I was just like, "What you mean? God, you mean when God made you a promise,
Yeah.
caused you to wander?" Just sounds crazy. Like
It does.
Might not have wandered if it wasn't
you're
for
not
God.
wandering. You're on a mission. You're on a
You're right.
like
But
you were
he
called. You
doesn't
were
know. But that's the thing. That's what I said. God doesn't just don't tell him. Did he tell him
yes.
exactly where he's gonna go?
Yes, he puts him in the land and says, "Walk up and down. This is all going to be yours." And he talking about I'm wandering.
I'm
Like
wandering.
Yeah, but the thing is, he still got to get through these people he don't know.
no,
He don't tell him that. That's what I'm saying. But did God tell him
God has looked.
that I'm a that you gonna meet this person and they gonna be cool? You
No,
gonna meet this
no,
person?
but
They
God
That's not
has
the
told
point.
him to this point. God has told him to this point that this is the land I'm going to give to your children. They're going to be sojourners. They're going to be like he breaks it down for him. Like it's not a great, it's not a great story. It's not even a great journey for them. But he has broke it down for him at this point.
Yeah.
He knows that he's supposed to have a son with Sarah specifically because at first it wasn't specific. So God had to be specific and say, not by this girl, by this one, by your wife.
Hey, God, that's what I said. This man
But I'm
is
saying
not doesn't
at
understand.
this point he should understand
Yeah.
because how much more clear can we be?
He
God
can't be.
Mhm.
placed you in God said, look this way, this way, this way. This is the land that you're going to get, right?
Yeah.
So you're not wandering.
Okay, let's go back to the frailty of these people at this time. It's like,
We see his frailty.
he led them from, he literally called them out of Egypt. Not even the few
we
things
know that
before
everybody
they built an ark to a God, the things that they took from Egypt.
This
He,
this is his frailty though. This is
yeah,
his
you're jumping
frailty that he is doing like Adam did. It was the woman you gave me, Lord. The Lord caused me to wander. The Lord gives this man a call, just as Moyo said. Gets
Mhm.
him to the place, right? Tells him, walk around this because I'm giving you this. Just as Moyo said, look north, south, east, and west. As far as you can see, I'm giving you this. So he's not a wanderer in my mind.
Mm-mm.
Like a wanderer or a nomad would have been Cain or Abel. Which one did the murder? Cain, right? Cain
Mhm.
killed Abel.
Okay.
Yeah. Like where he was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a nomad because I don't have anywhere to go. The Lord
Yeah,
is sending him someplace.
yeah. I just don't. I don't. I am okay with the people in the Bible being sinners like the rest of us. But to say that you're a wanderer when you literally have a call just feels disrespectful. And
It's just
like
so
we've
dumb.
already said, God is letting this stuff slide. We don't know why.
right.
Add it to the list of questions because if I tell God I'm just this like lowly whatever, knowing that God has given me all of this, like, oh, God has made me broke. Am I broke? I might feel like I don't have enough money. And now God is like, how about I take the rest? Because that's what would happen to me.
Mhm.
That's the thing, though. That's the beauty of, like I said, he doesn't tell us all the things, and and I just feel that it's just that they forget so quickly, and I think, and I think that's all of us. Like, but that's why we continue to pray
Yeah.
and we do forget what he has done. Like everything you did in the past, he brought you this far, so you won't fret, so you won't worry. But we still sometimes fret and we still worry.
Yeah.
But I also struggle with the people at that time in a sense that they heard the voice of God. They saw his actual miracles. Like I'm with you. I'm like, but they act like it happened and it's over
Hmm.
and and we not his people no more. He talked to you directly. You
Hmm.
heard the voice of God. You saw the change in these people's and things that happened, the miracles that you saw with your own eyes.
Mhm.
Yeah. I get it. All right,
So
Jasmine,
I
help
try.
us out. Where do we fall? How we gonna end this discussion here?
So I don't know. So the commentary that I watched that really like hit home for me in this
Uh-huh.
one section was like you were when do you remember being a child and your parent or grandparent told you what happens to you when you assume things? And I was like, you know what? He was like basically saying like all of this stuff. Basically, Abram made an assumption
Hmm.
about these people. He acted based on his assumption. Not right. Not right. But I probably would have done something similar. I can't lie. If I'm of the mind and I have the impression that my life is at risk. Granted, see, and it's a push and pull because the Lord has constantly showed up for Abraham time after time after time and has constantly brought him through to this point and has given him explicit instructions at up until now. It's hard for me to then say like, well, yes, his assumptions were reasonable because the Lord is showing up for you. There's no question. Like all of your questions get answers from the Lord and like from the Lord. You're not left to just figure it out on your own. And this is looking like he feels like he has to figure it out on his own, which again doesn't make any sense to
Doesn't make
me.
sense. Yeah.
But I don't know. On the flip side, if
See,
you,
you just like
it's
the rest
hard.
of us.
I know, but I really, where I ultimately fall, because like the
Uh-huh.
guy in the commentary was like, you shouldn't make these assumptions that then lead you down these paths that, like, the path you were supposed to go on is like this, but then your assumptions take you this way. You should just, you pray about it, and then you're ultimately making a decision that's in alignment with what God has for you, right? But we don't, like, that's not always the case. Like, that's what you would like, but that's not always what we do. Not saying that it's right, but that's like how I was like able to give him just a tiny bit of grace. Now, I agree with Moyo. I do think he was disrespectful because wandering is crazy, especially because the Lord, like I said, has shown up time after time. Wandering means you have nowhere to go. So that doesn't make sense. That just doesn't make sense. He sounds like he's just trying to cover himself. But also, what I thought was really crazy is to say that, do me the kind, like telling Sarah, do me this kindness of just everywhere we go, tell them you're my sister, or tell them I'm your brother. Uh, that sounds like premeditated disobedience. So I don't know. I'm like, Abraham, you're digging a hole for yourself, and we're back on this flip flop of I'm gonna do right, I'm not gonna do right. So I don't know. It really took me. I'm on an emotional roller coaster with it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Ugh.
But he
That
told
was
me
the
did
second part when he called out Sarah too. I think she caught the second stray in that. God caught the first one in
Yes.
my mind with the wander, and then Sarah caught the other one because he just threw her under the bus with the quickness.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sound real bad.
So, oh man, why we always gotta? Why I always feel bad. Now it's three against one, and I have to like try and stand up for Abraham. Like,
I gave him a little bit of benefit of the doubt. I gave him a little bit, but I
but
also fully
I,
see the reverse.
mhm.
I stood up for Abraham. Y'all, I was giving him too much of the benefit of the doubt. And I'm curious to know what the wander is in the original. It might be a bad
Look it up right
word
now.
change.
To wander about, to stagger,
No, but
to
I
be
mean, what's
made.
the original? That's
Yeah,
what
I'm
he's looking
reading.
at.
I'm reading
I'm
from the
sorry.
hello the definitions that are in there. To be made to stagger, to be led astray, to cause to err. So I think is probably more is more in line with to wander about or to stagger. Like you just
Oh,
there was no real destination, no real
This is worse.
yeah,
I pulled it up, and one of the definitions says to be led astray. Did
yeah,
you say that when you were reading?
yeah.
And then they have intoxication. like the definition, it's just crazy. Okay. No matter which of these we slide in there, none of them gets better.
Yeah,
Wander is probably the like easiest. It's like the most calm word that they
that
use.
they use.
okay. I thought it could be
Mislead,
travel.
misled is one of them.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Um
Okay.
so anything else in here? Oh, and you
Yeah.
touched on this. I think it's big to point out, Jasmine, that those assumptions that Abraham has been making have been debunked. One by the dream and the response of Abimelech to the dream,
Mm-hmm.
and then two, the fear of God part by the response of his servant. So I
Mm-hmm.
just want to make sure that we stated that again because you brought it up earlier, and it's a very good point. Um,
Mama Cohen said that he didn't lie though.
He
I
did.
was about to talk about that.
Her brother.
There was a quote that I pulled out of the commentary I read, and I was like, "Ooh, snaps!" These people said, "Half truth said with intent to deceive is always a whole lie," and I was
Ooh,
like, "Mm-hmm, mm-hmm."
not the
Mini
Yes.
applause. Yes.
Yes. Yes. The technically true part, I was definitely that was I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, did y'all see that like try to like run around the bush? Like technically, yeah, that's still a lie. Like
Yeah.
you still no matter how you try to work around it, you're trying to make something make sense that don't make sense.
Yeah. He's trying to preserve
Okay.
himself.
But
So
right, that's what I was gonna say. His
to
intention
Cheryl's
might
point.
not be to lie, but to protect himself, to live, to see out the work of God.
You're right. He was not thinking about no work of
He
God.
said,
Mm-mm.
I think
Mm-mm.
one of the bigger things to me in all of this is we are talking through this and we have chopped this up like 50 ways to Sunday, right? Just
Mhm.
imagine that the Lord's got to be dealing and looking at us, right? Because he's working through Abraham with all of this duplicitous nature, right? In his heart, whatever he's thinking to get to an appointed ends. I mean, we
Mhm.
are a handful. That's my takeaway from all of
Two of
this.
them. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and what also came to mind is just funny when you said duplicity, it made me think of so many in the Bible who were a little who were
Exactly.
like a prophet, but they were like, who's the one with the two in the womb, and he
Is it Jacob? Well,
Jacob and Esau
yeah,
and
yeah.
Jacob,
Jacob and Esau.
Oh,
but
oh
he went
yeah.
and
Or is
he
it
tricked
Perez and the other one?
No, you think you're talking about Esau
Jacob
and
and
Jacob,
Esau,
right? Jacob and Esau.
but he tricked his brother,
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's Jacob.
tricked he tricked the father to get the inheritance, and but
yeah.
he still
You
Jacob
still work
is
through them. All right, Cheryl, don't talk too much. That's next season. I think we get into some of that next season. Don't give it away. We're not giving it away for free.
it's a pattern with the people who he has chosen
Yeah, it
to
is. It
do
is.
things that are dubious.
Yep.
And the
And we
first should be anyway.
nah, you're right. You're right. All right. Woo. Okay. Got through those. Anything else with 11 to 13? Uh-oh. Go ahead, Moya. You got something else?
No, I was ready
Oh,
to read my next section.
okay.
Go
All right, go for it.
All right. Genesis chapter 20, verses 14 to 16. Then Abimelech took sheep and oxen, and male servants and female servants, and gave them to Abraham, and returned Sarah his wife to him. And Abimelech said, Behold, my land is before you. Dwell where it pleases you. To Sarah he said, Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. It is a sign of your innocence in the eyes of all who are with you, and before everyone you are vindicated. And before
Mm,
everyone you are vindicated.
boom. I think it was a little different in Egypt in chapter 13. If I remember correctly, and y'all let me know if I messed this up. They, being Egyptians and Pharaoh, gave Abram like the goods and the stuff when they thought that that was a brother, and we said we think it's because he wanted to curry favor, right? Like if I treat a brother good, then the brother won't have any issue with me taking his sister. But here, all of this stuff is coming afterwards in response to the fact that this is actually Abraham's wife. So I thought that was interesting and a little difference that's happening there.
In that chapter, in the other first time with the Pharaoh, he did give him more things when he said get out. He gave him
Okay.
more goods and more things to go. So he gave him things in the beginning, and he gave him
More
things
things to
again, but he
go.
said leave, like don't stay here though. Whereas Abimelech is like you can stay, which was
Right.
interesting to me.
Um, what else do we see in here? Do you see anything with Sarah? What do we see happening with her?
Mm, mm.
I think you're muted, Jasmine.
Yes, sorry. There was like a car going crazy outside.
It's all good.
um, I think her talking to her innocence I thought was really interesting. Behold, I've given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. It is a sign of your innocence in the eyes of all who are with you. So kind of
Mhm.
like you're all good. Like nothing took place.
Right.
I have to just let the record show that you weren't a part of anything nefarious or anything like that. I thought was noble in a sense. Instead of he could have just been like, all y'all get gone, get out of my face. I don't know what y'all were trying to cook up here. I thought it was I just thought it was interesting, and the commentary said something about his intentions with giving of both no like giving the sheep and oxen and servants to Abraham and then also giving to Sarah. I don't remember exactly what it said. I have to think about it. But yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of this, right? Because remember, way back when the Lord was talking to Abimelech in the dream, what had to happen? He had to give back Sarah to Abraham, and
Right.
Abraham had to pray for
Mm-hmm.
Abimelech. So
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
some of this, I'm wondering if he's like, I need you to pray for me so you can stay wherever you want. I'm gonna give you all this stuff. I'm gonna tell you that nothing happened, and we know nothing happened, right? Because the Lord stopped it from happening. Tell you
Right.
nothing
Right.
happened with me and Sarah. And I want everyone to know it. This 1,000 pieces of gold or silver rather, talk to the fact that you haven't been besmirched in any way. You're still right. You're Abraham's wife, and nothing has taken place.
Yeah.
That sounds like a bribe.
It does. And I don't know. I don't know if it is. See, this is again one of those things. I
Right.
don't know if you can take it as like it's a bribe, or
Right.
if he's actually being genuine in his wanting to pay restitution, or some combination of the two. Right. But he
Yeah.
does need Abraham to pray for him, because that's the way that the Lord told him that whatever is happening to them would be removed. Is the prophet has to pray for you.
Hmm.
Why
Mm-hmm.
does Abraham accept the gifts? Remember in the chapter with the king of Sodom, he said, "Oh, no, I don't want you to say that you made me rich."
I don't know.
Now he don't care anymore. Like sometimes he takes it. This was the only time he didn't take it.
Yeah.
But
I, I, well, I think in this instance, he said it's a sign that nothing happened. So it wasn't in the other one. He was trying to buy her.
no. So the first time in Egypt, he takes the money from Pharaoh. He takes the
Hmm.
gold, the silver,
Mm-hmm.
the cattle. He takes everything. But
Hmm.
then after the battle with Sodom, not Sodom, he defeats the people who were oppressing Sodom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, the king of Sodom says, "You take all of the spoils of this war." And
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Abraham says, "No, I can't take that. Just give
That's
me
not
what my
safe.
people have eaten. Let them take their
Mm-hmm.
portions, but I don't want anybody to say that you're the reason that I'm rich." Then here, this guy is giving him cattle and sheep, well, sheep and oxen and servants and all of the things similar to how Pharaoh did, and he's taking them again. So what is changing? Like, what is the difference between these kings giving it versus the king of Sodom, the Pharaoh and the king? What is his name? Abimelech.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there a
Yeah.
difference?
The only thing that I can think of is one would have been the spoils of war. And it wasn't what he would have gotten would not have been from the defeat of King Chedor Laomer, King Che. It would have been from the person of the city, the group, the nation that he was trying to help. He, so the spoils would not have been spoils of war, more of a recovery of the things for that other nation, Sodom, and him taking them.
Hmm.
That's the only difference. Uh, I don't know. I was wondering the same thing, and I didn't see anything in my reading that talked about why he took this versus not taking what happened um,
Yeah.
after that battle.
The only thing I saw was like one of them people. They was I felt like it was too much of a reach, and I can say it, but I don't believe it. So I would
Right.
make that disclaimer. So they basically said that um, because he had done wrong, he couldn't then act like he was righteous and say I can't do that. Like in the Sodom story, it was more like they were saying that it was more him trying to show that he was righteous, trying to show that God is the one that's providing for him, whereas now he sinned against both of these people by lying to them. So then you can't turn around and try to act like you're this righteous man who won't take things because we know that you're you're a liar type of thing.
Right,
Like
right.
you did the one thing, now you just continue doing the
Yeah,
things. But I don't know if I believe that
I don't
yeah.
necessarily.
agree. No.
I'm not sure I would take that route either. Um, I get that. That makes sense. Yeah, so I don't
Mm-mm.
know. That's
It's
another
just
one of
the
those questions
case
we
by
need to
case.
ask.
Write
Go
it
ahead,
down on
Cheryl.
the
What was that?
list.
I'm sorry.
I was more so thinking, I think it's a case by case situation. For instance, I think to Jasmine's point about and the people like, what did you see in us? And I think he made assumptions. And then after speaking to him, he's like, okay, you meant this. And then they also told him to stay there. So they might could use the things if they stay. So it may be just a case by case
It may be.
scenario.
I don't know. But
Hmm.
can the Abimelech again to your I think it was a point that you may have made earlier, Moyo, recognizing how formidable Abraham could be offering all this stuff to him, and Abraham just takes it because that's what he wants. I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't know why he takes this versus not. But all I know is that he's richer. He's got more oxen, more silver. Oh, did you all catch the shade? Do you think it was shade when verse 16 to Sarah he said, "Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver."
You wanted to call him your brother. I'm still gonna call him your brother.
Oh, call him your brother.
Yeah, I didn't catch the shade. I was confused. I was like, "What is? Why not? Why hasn't he referenced him as his as her husband yet?"
Yeah,
I was
Because
kind
they
of
weren't
confused.
used.
I think he
I
was
think
trying to
he
get one
using
of
their
them
words
down.
back at them.
Yep.
And I thought it was interesting. I was wondering if it's a cultural significance in that time to silver. Like maybe because it's like giving you money mean what happened in the dark didn't happen. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
Mm.
I think it's just a sign of the fact that you can say I got all of this to say that this didn't happen, or I don't know. I
Yeah,
read
but in this
something.
day and age, I mean, you did get
Yeah,
it.
I read something, and I'm not sure how much it applies, but apparently I think it said it was a Syrian, and they actually have something written that says basically this situation that if as a man you take another man's wife without recognizing or realizing that that's his wife, that you have to make an oath before the man saying that you did this. You took his wife without realizing it, and you have to pay restitution. So
Mm.
the thing that's missing here is that there's no oath per se. There's no like anything said. It's just a statement here between this guy and Sarah. It's not the way it reads here to me. It's not something that's said out in the open for everybody to hear. But we do see the restitution portion. So I don't know how much that plays into it or not, but I did see that, and that could have some contributing factor to what we're seeing here. But yeah.
Mhm,
All right. Anything
mhm.
else with those? All right. Last up, verses 17 and 18 of Genesis chapter 20. It says, Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, and also healed his wife and female slaves, so that they bore children. For the Lord had closed all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abram's wife. Boom. Done. Abram
Mm.
prays. So one thing when I was reading this that I did not realize, I thought when the Lord said that you'll die or he was going to bring some affliction, that it hadn't happened yet. But here, when we read this, it sounds like and seems like there was already stuff going on
Mm-hmm.
with within the household based on the fact that Abimelech had Sarah.
Yeah.
And last,
It also,
yep. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Moya.
I was gonna. It also speaks to how long Sarah was there,
Yes.
because it's not like a day or a night. She probably was there for a while for them to notice that nobody's able to have kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. I read it had to be like several months. Is that what you read? Or did you read that it was
I
longer?
would assume it. I didn't. I don't. I don't. I didn't read a time frame, but the fact that people are realizing they're not having babies after a couple months of trying, especially in a place where I don't know. I'm assuming that people are pregnant like often, and for you to know you're pregnant, you don't have a pregnancy test, so you don't find out in the first 4 weeks like we would
No.
now. You would find out maybe 4 months or 3 months. Like once
Right.
you like, it has to be a couple cycles for you to know. And then let's say you tried. What's the longest someone tries before they feel like they're bearing? Maybe 6 months to a year. Like it has to be a good amount of time for you to notice that something is wrong.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
And everybody is unable to. Like nobody's pregnant. Like we always pregnant. Somebody's always pregnant.
Yeah. It brings back the idea of, again, because we're still in Genesis 1 or Genesis 2, um, where, when Seth is born, that might even be Genesis 3. No, it's not 3, definitely not 3. 4, 5, 5 maybe. But when Seth is born, they talk about, I know I'm just going to keep counting down the chapters of Genesis until I get it right. How she talks about the Lord has given me a man. I think that's what the wording is. How even Sarai is like, the Lord has prevented me from having children. Um, the Lord is in charge of all of this stuff, and He's opening and closing wombs as He needs to,
Mm-hmm.
um, to get done what He wants to have done. Um, Anything else with these last couple of verses? The Lord healed and everything worked out. Oh, this is, I think, another place where you see Abraham being a prophet. We talked about that earlier. The Lord
Mm.
Yeah,
commissioned him basically to pray for, this group of people. Um, so he's definitely interceding because the Lord told him to
Mm-hmm.
for, Abimelech and his
yeah,
kingdom. So,
yeah.
yep. So that's Genesis chapter 20. I think the only thing that I would add here is we talked about this a lot during the episode. I don't really have a good smooth segue into any type of invitation or anything, aside from the fact that we were looking at just the fallen nature of man. We talked about the wickedness of man. We talked about man in terms of Noah and others being counted as righteous. Um, and what we do know is that the only way that happens is through Jesus, right? Um, and we said it in the episode that whether it's a future person that is righteous, whether it's a current in his current times a person that's righteous, or whether it's someone in the past that is considered righteous, it comes through none other than Jesus Christ. So what does that mean? That means that we, as people of the time that we're in this dispensation, thank you, Cheryl, need to believe in Jesus. We need to trust in Jesus. And actually, that's been through all dispensations. They have really all pointed to
Right.
Jesus Christ and just how God was working with them to get them to understand, to trust, to believe in Him And ultimately it would be in his son and none other than him. So that's what we urge. That's why we do this, so that you'll learn, so that you'll be edified, but ultimately so that you would believe and come to believe that Jesus Christ is exactly who he says he is. He's God in the flesh. He's fully God. He's fully man. He's the one who can address our sins. He died on the cross for our sins. He was buried in a real tomb, and he was raised by God on the third day. If you believe that, which I usually call the content of the gospel, then you are saved. And if you do believe, we celebrate with you. Yes. And what happens next is that you need to be discipled. And if you have any questions, want to look for a church, we'd be glad to try and help you with that. Um, but yeah, that's why we do this, because we want people to grow. We want to grow ourselves, but also because we want to talk about the goodness that is none other than Jesus, and urge you to believe in his death, burial, and resurrection. All right. Anything else, folks?
Mm.
All right.
Nope.
Made it. Another one in the can. Thank you, Mama Coleman, Miss Cheryl, for hanging out with us. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jasmine. Again,
Mhm.
we are so happy for you.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
and
Yes.
you'll have so much fun. It won't be fun when you don't sleep early on, but
Right.
eventually it'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, we're ecstatic and celebrating with you.
Yes.
We'll miss
Mhm.
you for the time that you're gone, and look forward to you coming back.
I
And
can't
again,
wait.
just keep us updated on everything that's going on. All
Will
right.
do.
And so when you see us next time, we'll have a guest. I'm not going to say who that guest is yet, but we will have a guest who's keeping the seat warm.
Hmm.
And we'll be trying to do the same good thing that we do every episode, which is have a good time walking through scripture. What's our tagline, Mayo? However we see fit.
I mean that.
Something
One
like
chapter at
that.
a time, in whatever order.
we feel like it.
We feel like it.
All right. All right, folks. We out of here. Deuces.
Bye.
Bye.